Well, welcome back all you sports fanatics. In today's video, we're going to be talking about all the different, beautiful, unique play styles of basketball. With the many different styles of play from far and near to the East Coast nitty-gritty style of basketball. Or all the way to the West Coast, high-flying, high-scoring, running gun, shoot from everywhere style of play. So, the question that needs to be answered, with all the different unique styles of play from all 50 states, what style of play takes the throne? Before we get into it, there are some discrepancies. With the way how the game has evolved over the years and how human nature works, people take bits and pieces of other people's games because imitation is the highest form of flattery, right? Take this as an example. Kobe Bryant, a Philadelphia hooper, going out west and influencing a whole generation of West Side hoopers. But even though a California hooper may take a bit of sauce from a Philly hooper, we can tell who's from where. It's very distinct. Now, I'm not saying one size fits all, but there are characteristics and traits that distinguishes them. Logically, they are products of their environment. Our first stop, St. Louis. Now, wait a second. Pause 1 second. Pause 1 second. Do you guys see LeBron's face right here? Fucking priceless. Okay, roll the clip. These type of play styles have no conscience. Whether a good shot or a bad shot is going up. Shoot first, ask questions later. They could be 0 for 25, and I bet you in their mind that 26 shot is going in. Kind of like what Dion Waiters said. I'd rather go 0 for 30 than 0 for 9, because if you go 0 for 9, that means you stop shooting. That means you lost confidence. So what is it? Do they just have unbreakable confidence? Maybe. But one thing's for sure. With their crazy shot making, absurd confidence, no conscience, there's not a shot that they don't like. But don't get it twisted. When they want to, they can also put the clamps on you too. Let's move over to our next stop, the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois. The best way to describe this type of play style is tough. Looking on the surface, they might be tough because they attack the paint relentlessly, willing to go above you, through you, or around you. Alright, my fault. I got caught up for a second, but back to the topic. But besides the relentless rim attacking abilities, they also have a vicious handle. That every dribble feels like a precise calculated attack to help them get to the paint. But that's just the offensive side of the ball. Let's talk about defense. But just like how they're relentless on attacking the paint on the offensive side, they're also relentless on the defensive side as well. You know when you lock someone up and they blame it on you fouling? Yeah, I bet they hear that a lot. Alright, but enough about what's above the surface. Let's talk about what's underneath the surface. So what's underneath the surface? What's underneath the surface is a desire to overcome any obstacle while doing the impossible. Doing all that while making it look easy with a straight face. And quick side note about Sean Livingston. He might have one of the best post fadeaways I've ever seen. No, literally, like look at this dude. I'm talking about when I seen this man play, it's an automatic 2 points if he's in that post. It puts the fear of God in you. Like you have a 6'7" slender man out there giving fadeaway buckets in the name of freedom. Like that's unstoppable. That's unstoppable. But anyway, let's move over to the Hoosier State. Indiana, that is. Even though basketball was originated in Massachusetts by Mr. James Naismith, his protege, Nicholas McKay, perfected the game and brought it back to Indiana, also known as the cradle of basketball. Alright, enough about history. Let's switch it up a little bit and talk about play style. But Indiana, a state that's known for basketball, you would think they invented the game. But with their style of play, some can argue that they perfected it to a degree, depending on who you ask. Fundamentals is something that's definitely never lacking in the Indiana style of play. Being able to pass? Check. How about being able to finish with both hands? Check. Or what about the fundamentally sound footwork? Check. And we can't forget about a solid jump shot. Check. You ever heard the term of a gym rat? Well, they embody that. And being in the gym 24/7, you can imagine that they have some form of mastery with their games, which probably leads them to become complete players. Now, their game might not be the most exciting to watch or the most eye-pleasing, but mastering the fundamentals can oftentimes be boring, but it does get the job done. So let's slow it down a little bit. I feel like the best way to describe Indiana's play style is low-key, under the radar, hard workers. Most of the people that you see that come out of Indiana, they have their heads down and they just tend to work hard. You don't really hear much from them, but you do see the beauty and hard work that they put in their game, and it reflects to what you see on the court. But shout out to the Hoosier State. Next on the list, Wisconsin. Now, this state has had an influx of new and upcoming hoopers lately. Now, their play style varies, but they have a balanced diet of outside shooting, an inside game, mixed with finishing. But that's not what makes them special. What makes them special is their characteristic of play style. And I like to call that type of characteristic dynamite, because these hoopers are capable of going off and putting up an absurd performance without any warning at any time, no matter what role they're in, whether it be scoring, defense, playmaking, or rebound. Light the right fuse and boom, fireworks. It may last for a quarter, it may last for a game, or even a length of a season. But once the switch is flipped, GG. Now, the same thing can be said, but vice versa. Even though they're tough mentally, if that mindset is not nurtured correctly, those fireworks could go back and fire against you if not used properly. And your best weapon could be your worst nightmare if you don't know how to set the match. Highly flammable, but definitely worth it. On to our next state, Michigan. Now, this state has produced some of the most talented and most innovative players in basketball. To Magic Johnson changing the game and being one of the first big guards. Or the Iceman's most iconic finger roll. Or Draymond Green being a trailblazer and changing the game to induce small ball bigs. These type of players have a way of thinking the game. They're always thinking a couple of steps ahead, calculating every move and having counters to that move and counters to the counter of that move. They're kind of like walking chess players on the court, always observing, always thinking, and always coming up with new and innovative ideas to get an advantage over their opponents. There's brilliance in their innovativeness, and the way how they think the game is beautiful.
In a nanosecond, you have to think in your mind, is he out of control to the point where if I came over and took the charge, would I get the